guys, what is going on? My name is Alex and this is the Car Creative, and today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I edit all of my automotive videos. Now a lot of you guys were asking me because of my last video. I did a tutorial on how I shoot all of my B-roll, and a lot of you wanted me to do an editing tutorial. Now I'm not going to do a full walkthrough of the edit, but I am going to show you my timeline and give you 10 tips, tricks, ideas you guys can use, as well as maybe some plugins, LUTs you guys can apply to your videos to take it from maybe average or good to just better than average. It's kind of that extra 10% that we always need to sprinkle on to make our videos epic. Now it doesn't matter if you edit on Final Cut or Premiere or DaVinci or whatever, these tips and tricks can be used no matter what NLE you are using. So let's dive in. I use Final Cut, and hopefully all of these concepts will play over to what you guys use. Now, of course, guys, the most important thing other than the footage itself is the music track that you guys are going to use to make your video. Now, it doesn't really matter what platform you use. I'm not sponsored by any of them, but I personally really enjoy using the music bed for my YouTube channel. One thing that I'm always looking for when I pick my music is moments. So whether that's a rise to a beat, or just beats that land at a certain time that I know I can hit edits, I can create depth or speed using the music. The one that I picked for this one in particular, I'm just doing details around the car, so I picked more of a lo-fi beats kind of thing that we can work with. It gives me options if I want to do quick cut edits as well as slow cuts on my details, which I'll show you guys here in a sec. The next thing I'm going to get into with you guys is how to do proper cuts. Now, I'm a bit of a simple guy in that I watch Hollywood movies. I'm sure you do too, but a lot of Hollywood movies do really clean cuts, so I tend to make my edits quite clean. A lot of YouTubers will do a lot of zoom, flash, this, that. I try my best not to do that, but that brings me into my next one, which is speed ramps. I think speed ramps is a great way to engage the audience in bringing you into another shot or transitioning some shots. So try out some speed ramps in your NLE because it does add a lot of energy to your video. This next one is one of my favorite things to do because it takes such an average shot and makes it so much better. And all that it is a subtle zoom effect. Now, this is really easy to do in your editor. You're just gonna go to the beginning of your clip, set a keyframe, go to the end of your clip and set another keyframe. And you can put this to, you know, if we're starting it at 100% zoom, we are now gonna put it to 120 at the end. Now, all this does is take like an average pan or push in on the Ronin, and actually adds a lot of energy to that shot. So you can see here what I'm editing. I can take a really average side-to-side shot and give a lot of energy just by adding a subtle zoom. Now, I've got my presets here in Final Cut so that I don't have to always do those keyframes. I can just kind of double click on the ones that I got there and it automates that for me. So whatever you guys are using, make sure to set an automator. This will make your editing way faster. Another great thing that you guys can try in your video editing is adding sound effects. So this could be something like a hit that you can accentuate what's going on in the music, or when you zoom up to the emblem or logo on your car, you can just kind of hit it with a whoosh boom, kind of like you do here. For these, you can add everything from glitch sound effects to risers to hits. There's just an endless resource that you can have, and they're all over the internet with sound effects now. So just pick it, be creative with it. I tend to use lens distortions. I've found them to be an absolutely incredible library of sound effects. So speaking of lens distortions, they also have another pack, and these again, you can get from anywhere on the internet, called light hits, or you can also go to Motion FX. And if you're a Final Cut user like me, they have a M diffusion pack, which is completely free, and I'll link it down below, and it gives you this really cool lighting effect. Now with cars, if you're shooting cars like I am, they will tend to have headlights and they tend to have tail lights. So this is a really great way to add this kind of really cool fake anamorphic effect if you're not rich and shooting on anamorphic lenses. This is a great way to do it. So feel free to check out these light hits that kind of add these kind of fun bursts, or this diffusion effect. And again, you can find any of these on the internet, but they add a really cool spice to your B-roll. All right, so the next one, we're gonna get into our color grading. Now, this is a very, very basic thing that I highly suggest you guys do, but do open up your waveforms while you're editing. What this makes sure that you're doing is that you're never crushing your highlights, or overexposing your highlights, because never in cinema do you see overexposed highlights. So make sure you have that waveforms open, and you can always see that you're crushing your shadows or keeping your shadows alive. So what I highly suggest, keep your highlights in and keep your lowlights in, and then find your mid-tones and balance, add contrast, whatever you gotta do. I've also noticed in automotive photography specifically, taking that real midpoint dot and dragging that up a bit really does add a beautiful point of contrast for automotive. What I personally love that LUTS do is it creates a linear look across all of your footage. So if you've got a weird green over here and a weird yellow over here, it'll take those and hopefully align them a little bit through the hue saturation panel. So that's something that'll add just a really professional touch to the end of your video. And I have officially created a few LUTs that you guys can download down below that are kind of my classic style. If you've seen any of my Lightroom presets, they're along the same lines. Now in my LUT pack down there, I have added some S-curves. So whether it's a flat S-curve that you want or something that's just gonna make your midtones pop if you're not super familiar with S-curves, I've got two in my LUT pack down below that you guys can fiddle with. Okay, so after you've put your entire film together, you're super happy with how the music, the whooshes, the cuts, the clips, the extra effects are happening. There's one last thing you can try and do, which is to add a letterbox effect. Now again, we're trying to fake what anamorphic or Hollywood is doing, and we're just gonna squish the tops and the bottoms down just to make it look more cinematic. That's really all that it's doing. Now my only kind of gripe with letterboxes is if your intended audience is, say, Instagram, then you're kind of losing a little bit of landscape space. So maybe just debate where you're actually publishing your video to, and if the letterbox is the right decision. So there you go, guys. These are tools that I use in every single video to add that extra 10%. Instead of just slapping something together, tossing a quick LUT and hitting export, make sure you go those extra steps by adding those little bits that make the video so much more special. You may not notice them when you're watching them, but it does make such a big difference. Now, if this didn't give you enough of an idea of how I edit or the little extra things that I do to make my videos a little bit more special, let me know in the comments below if you want to see a longer form video or watch me edit. Maybe we can do a live thing sometime or something. I don't know, so just let me know in the comments or hit that like button if you enjoyed these tips. If you learned something from it, it really does help me. The channel helps me know if you guys are enjoying this content and if I need to create some more. Do make sure to come check me out on Instagram, guys. That's where I'm posting photos, asking you guys questions of what you'd like to learn. I'm learning from you. We're building a really cool car community over there, so make sure to come check that out. Otherwise, guys, do feel free to subscribe to this video, and I do hope that I will see you in the next one. Peace.